Hey everyone, in this video, I'm going to show you how to save out an SPSS.sav file for use in Mplus. So if you're relatively new to Mplus, you are aware that Mplus doesn't read in SPSS files or .sav files or stata files or things like that. And so there's a little bit of pre-processing you need to do. So say, for example, you receive a data set and it's in the format we're looking at right now in an SPSS file. What are some changes you need to make? So I'm going to lay out ways that I've done this in the past and some suggested steps to take to get your data ready. So this is an SPSS data file. So you see variable names at the top. It looks like a spreadsheet. You can see here the missing data are, a period in this particular data set. So first thing I generally am going to do is I'm going to run descriptive statistics. So what I'm going to do is I clicked Analyze Descriptives, and I'm going to click on one of the variables and then click Control A to highlight all of them, pop them into the variables list. I'm going to click Paste. Do this for a couple reasons, but first is it shows me the variable names in the correct order that I want them. Later, I'm going to copy and paste this into Mplus rather than typing out all the variable names. I'm also going to run this because I'm assuming that the values I get here are correct, right? So age, for example, I have 92 out of 93 participants. The minimum is 11, the maximum is 17, the mean is 13. So later when I read this into Mplus, I want to cross-check against, these results. So I'm going to minimize these windows, but keep them easy access to me. Now, I've had better luck at Mplus using -99 or 9999 or something like that for a missing data flag. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to convert or recode the system missing value in SPSS into a missing data flag that I like better. So I'm going to do transform, recode into same variables. I'm going to repeat the process here of Control A, pop those in. I'm going to do old and new values. The old value for missing, or the old value for all the variables that system missing, I'm going to recode to -99. You click Add in SPSS, Continue, and then OK. And you'll see that in the data set now, where there previously were those periods, you now have a -99. Now, obviously, if you're going to do this step of running the descriptive statistics, you do that before recoding missing data to -99, because that would throw off your means and things like that. Now that I've done that, so I've got -99 for missing. I know what the means should be and the minimum maximums, things like that. I'm ready to save this data set out. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and then what I'll do here is I'll go to Save As Type, and I'll click on the down arrow. So instead of an SAV, I'm going to save this as a comma delimited file or a .csv. I'm also going to uncheck write variable names to file. So that's going to take off the variable names when it saves out a file that can be read in, say, for example, Excel. The reason being Mplus wants files read in with no variable names at the top. I'm going to click Save. I can go to my desktop on my computer to see if that's saved correctly. So here's the comma separated values file. Double click on that, see what it looks like. And you'll see no variable names at the top, just the ID numbers, age is that first column, the -99s for any missing data I have. So I'll X that out. Next, what I tend to do is I go to Mplus and I start with just a blank input or .imp or syntax file. What I like to do when I'm first starting out and reading in a data set that I've saved, and in this case, it's on my desktop, so it's easy to find, but sometimes I have data files kind of buried in 12 subfolders. So what I'll do is I'll use Mplus language generator. In this case, it doesn't really matter which I choose. I'm just going to choose SEM. Title here, I'm going to call it type is basic because I'm just going to run some basic sample statistics. The data set is an individual data set. It's not summary like a variance, covariance matrix or a correlation matrix. So I'm going to click browse, go to my desktop. Now here Mplus is defaulting to .dat files. So I have to click all files to get to that CSV. Double click that and click next. Data format is free. Missing data, yes, it's a numeric flag. Next, I could add in variable names, but I have so many variable names here. I'm just going to copy and paste them out from the SPSS syntax. So I'm not going to do that. Variable list, I don't need any of this. So the numeric missing value flag was -99. It's the same for all the variables, so I make sure that button is checked. Click next. I don't have grouping variables, weight variables, or categorical variables. I actually do, but I don't care about that at this step, so I'm going to skip that. I'm going to ask for type equals basic. It's going to use maximum likelihood as a default. These are all default kind of commands. I'm just going to request sample statistics, which is going to give me means, variances, skew, kurtosis, things like that. Click next. I don't need any save data options, so I'll just click finish. Now I've got an input file, so it's located the file and put the full address in there. Missing are all -99. All I really need here is type is basic. Basic is going to give me missing data information, essentially. I don't need these defaults. And in the output, I'm asking for samstat. Now, what I need to add is a command names are to tell Mplus what the variable names are. And it's very important that these match onto the comma separated columns, I guess, that Mplus is going to encounter. So I'm going to go back to SPSS and I'm going to copy the variable names. I missed the I in ID, so I'm going to do that again. Oh, I messed up again. Click copy. So names are, hit enter and click paste. Now, if you've used Mplus for a while, you know that Mplus doesn't want the commands to go out past 90 columns. So I'm putting my cursor in front of some of the variable names and hitting enter just to kind of move these over. You also probably discovered that Mplus does not like long variable names. So some of these, for example, this one, I could have changed it in SPSS before I started this whole process, but here I could just change it to, shorter. It's 8 characters. This is the max that Mplus wants to see. It won't give you an error, but sometimes it will lead to problems interpreting your output because Mplus will truncate those to 8 characters. I also need to add a semicolon here at the end so that Mplus knows that's the end of the names are command. So it's now assigned variable names to each of the comma separated columns in the data set. I'm ready to run this. However, if I don't put in a use variables command, Mplus is going to think I want to use all of them, including the ID variable, which I don't. So I'm going to say use variables are age through CESD4R. And what that's going to do is give me information on all these variables. Need a semicolon, and I'm going to run that. When you do that language generator, you then have to ask it. You have to name the input file before it'll run. Type equals basic with this many variables is going to take a little bit of time. So while that runs, I'll do a quick review of what I just did. So SPSS, saving it out to a file that can be read in Excel or Notepad or something like that, but that will go into Mplus. Open the .sav file in SPSS, run descriptive statistics so you can double check later. Use the syntax feature in SPSS to get a list of variable names in order if you want to copy and paste in like I just did. Alternatively, you could have saved out with the variable names at the top into an Excel file and then copied and pasted that into Mplus. In the second video I'm going to post, I'm going to show you how to do this in RStudio. And in that case, that way I will do a copy paste from an Excel file or a CSV file into Mplus. Recode the missing data values if necessary. In my case, I changed that period, which was system missing or sysmiss, to -99. And then file save as, I changed to a CSV. I uncheck write variable name to the file, save the new CSV file. Note the link to variable names. I can either fix it in Mplus when assigning variable names. I can edit what I just did when I pasted in, or I can change it in SPSS using the variable view option. In Mplus, there are many ways to do this, but one easy way is to use the Mplus language generator. It directs Mplus to the exact location of the data file without needing the file location. I copied and pasted variable names from the SPSS syntax file. Alternative is to save out names Excel, and then you'll have to delete them later. Be sure the missing flag is correct. Run samstat type equals basic compared to SPSS output. And that is it. So that should have finished by now. So this is sample size of 93. It's among middle school students in North Carolina. One thing to notice is I recoded a number of items or reversed them, and so you'll see a warning down below that you can ignore. But Mplus, because of type equals basic, is giving me different missing data patterns in my data set. Giving me what's called covariance coverage, or basically what proportion of two variables are available to compute a covariance between those variables. Don't really care about this right now. What I am interested in are the means and the minimums and the maximums, just to make sure the data was read incorrectly. So if I go to age, mean of age is 13, minimum is 11, maximum is 17. Go back to the SPSS output file, look at age. Minimum is 11, maximum is 17, the mean is 13. Might want to also check one of my summary composite variables. I'm going to choose what's called FES mod, which is family ethnic socialization. The mean I'm seeing here is, can't really see it because I've minimized the window, but it's a 3.9223. Go back to Mplus, scroll down to FES mod. Right here, the mean is 3.922. So with rounding, those are equal. That would leave me feeling confident that I've correctly read in the data set and I'm good to go. Now I go back to this file. I've got a file built where I can do things like confirmatory factor analysis, regressions, whatever I want to do now in Mplus. So that's the way I would go straight from SPSS to a CSV file to read into Mplus. If you have any questions or comments, post them below, or you can email me at ajsupple@appliedanalyses.com. And I will be posting a second video, if you don't have access to SPSS at all, how to do this all in RStudio. Thanks for watching.